Hey guys. So this video is going to be a little bit different than my most recent videos lately. I'm going back to like a vlog ramble style rant for this one. It is Sunday right now. You guys will be watching this on Thursday, and when you watch it, it will be the day before my daughter Libby's death anniversary. The day before the day of her accident. So I just wanted to do a little update to kind of just explain kind of what I've been going through during the past, couple months, weeks, and days leading up to this event, just to share how I'm feeling in the hopes that maybe somebody else that's going through this will know that they're not alone and that their feelings are valid and not weird. And yeah, none of this is to say that my experience will be the same as your experience. Every grief experience is different. It all depends on your relationship with your person and the length of time and your personality. There's so many factors that go into it. So again, this is just my experience and kind of what I'm feeling and going through. But yeah, okay. I'm already rambling. Off to a good start. So yeah, I have been feeling it coming for a little while now. Her birthday and her death date are always difficult. Last year, I feel like on the 1 year anniversary, I built it up so much in my mind, and then it ended up not being as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think I was kind of still, I don't know if shock is the right word, but just sort of like I still couldn't believe it was happening. And I couldn't believe last year that it had been a year. And this year, I can't believe it's been 2 years. And it's weird. I don't know if any of you have had this experience if you're like further out or close to where I am. There are times when it feels like it's been forever since Libby's been gone. And then there are other times when it feels like she died yesterday, or even that she could still, show up somewhere, that she's still going to walk into my classroom at the end of the day. So people always ask, like, does it get easier with time? It doesn't get easier at all. It gets different is the best way to describe it. There is still now, like at 2 years, I think about her every single day. She is the first thing that I think about when I wake up in the morning. She is the last thing I think about when I go to sleep at night. And I think of her a million times every hour in between. I really do. I'd say the difference is I'm kind of used to it at this point. So I've kind of become, grief has become integrated into my life. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job at that, at being able to go on with life despite feeling the grief. There is a theory that is called the ball in a box theory. I don't know if you've heard this before, but it's the idea that your grief is like a box that has a button. Hold on. I'll draw it for you. That might be easier to understand. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll give this a shot. Okay, so ball in a box theory is like, okay, here's your box, and then there's a button, and this button is like your triggers and this is you feeling the grief and feeling the pain of the loss. And when you start out, this is your grief, right? And it's stuck in this box, and if it's bouncing around the box, there's literally like no way that it's not going to hit this button. It just hits the button constantly. So it's constantly with you, constantly bothering you and making you feel like shit, basically. And then the theory is that as time goes on, so here's your box. I'm not an artist. Here's your button. The button's the same size, but as time goes on, your grief gets, I hate to say smaller, but it impacts your life smaller. So this is your grief as time goes on. it bounces around, but there's a little more room. So it hits this button less often. So your grief is always there. The triggers are always there, but your grief hits those triggers, and the pain button, maybe that's a better way to describe it. Like, this is like the pain button. As time goes on, the pain button gets hit less and less, even though your grief is still there. I don't know if that made any sense. But anyway, it's kind of like that, I would say. So the grief is still there, and it's a constant companion, but it hits the pain button less often. So I find that I'm definitely crying less often, fewer breakdowns, fewer panic attacks, that kind of stuff. But it's still kind of always there. It's always like heavy on the heart. So yeah, that's kind of how I am feeling wise. As far as the death anniversary, this year hit me pretty hard. And it has been. And part of that was, there were two things that happened, and I don't think I've mentioned them in my videos. I think I mentioned it on social media, but just a little while ago, I think it was less than 2 weeks ago, there was a house fire, and a friend of mine, a friend of the family, died in the fire, and her 7-year-old granddaughter also died in the fire. A woman who died was part of my life for quite a while. She was friends with David, my ex, with his family, and was very close with my kids. And, you know, we did things with her a lot. And then we kind of, after the divorce, got, you know, I didn't talk to her as much. But I will tell you what, after Libby died, she sent me messages constantly, just checking up on me, seeing how I was doing. So we definitely still kept in touch. So she was still part of my life. And it was awful that she died in the fire. But for some reason, hearing about the 7-year-old granddaughter just really hit me. And this girl was also, like, she loved to dance, just very similar to Libby. And I found myself just heartbroken over both of those losses. But the loss of the little girl that I had never even met, I knew of her, but I hadn't met her, just really got me, and made me really, really sad, and kind of put me into this funk. And then the other thing that happened was literally the day after the fire happened, and I found out that these friends had passed away. There was another accident at the site of Libby's memorial where the accident was, and somebody ran off the road in the snow and ran over Libby's memorial at her accident site. They hit the stop sign, so the stop sign fell over where the memorial was, and everything that was at the memorial site was completely destroyed. So I really couldn't save much of any of it. So one, like, having to see that was when I saw, I didn't see it with the car there. They had moved the car, but then my son actually called me and told me about it because he had driven by and was upset about it. And so I went to see it after work the day that it happened, and everything that was there was just ruined. And that was so hard to see. What was even harder was having to go back, because I had to wait. There was a big snow when the accident happened, and like the snow was piled up, so I couldn't even get to the memorial site. Sorry, I just hit my laptop. I couldn't even get there to do anything with it. I had to wait for the snow to melt. So then I think it was like 5 days later, the snow finally melted, and I was able to go there, and I had to clean up all of the stuff that was wrecked. And people had left so many things that had been there, you know, for the 2 years since the accident happened. And I just had to pick up the pieces and throw them in the back of my car. And they are still in the back of my car. covered in mud, which is now dried, and dropping little dirt pellets all over the back of my car. And I can't seem to bring myself to throw any of it out. I need to go through it and try to salvage the stuff that I possibly can salvage and like clean off because it all got wrecked. But a lot of the stuff that was there that people put up, there were little like statues and stuff like that. All of the new, I had just bought all new ornaments for Christmas. I was so excited because I found rose gold stuff to put there. She loved rose gold, so I decorated it for the holidays. Everything that I bought was broken into pieces. And that just really sucked. Like, that was so hard. And it's hard to see it now because everything's gone and there's nothing there. And the sign is still knocked over, and it's just, ugh. So that was really hard. So those are the two things that I think kind of plunged me into a definite funk over the past 2 weeks, and also just kind of knowing that this day is coming. But yeah, so that explains a little bit how I'm feeling, why I think this year I'm taking it a little bit harder than I thought I would. So my plan for honoring the anniversary, every year, well, we've decided that every year we're going to go to the Olive Garden, our family, because that was Libby's favorite restaurant. She was obsessed with noodles. So we go there and we eat pasta and noodles in her honor because she loved the Olive Garden. So we do that on the anniversary of the accident and then also on her birthday. And then what we did last year was we released a paper lantern. So her brothers and her dad and I released a paper lantern in her honor. I have since learned that paper lanterns are really, really bad for the environment. And I kind of thought that last year when I was, when we released it and there's like the fire going, I'm like, what happens if this like lands in a tree and catches it on fire? But it was beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful symbolic gesture, and a friend had given me the paper lantern, and it was such a beautiful thought that I did it. I didn't know about the environmental impacts, but I looked into it more, and there are definitely negative environmental impacts. And since I am not about that, I decided to change it up a little bit this year. So what I am doing is I ordered rocks to paint. So I got like a big pack of the rocks that you can paint on from Amazon, and I'm gonna paint rocks. And Libby loved to hike also, so her dad and I are going to paint the rocks and then leave them in different places that she used to hike. So we thought that was a really nice way to honor her. She actually, when we would go on hikes, she would look for them because sometimes we'd find little rocks that, have like a website on them where, you can look it up and take a picture of yourself with the rock and, let people know that you found it. And she always thought that was a hoot. So I think that's a really good way to honor her. And then the other thing that we are doing is we are rebuilding the memorial site on the day of the accident. So I ordered all new stuff to put there. And I know I have actually gotten some comments about how people think that roadside memorials are tacky or whatever. One, I don't care. And two, people like having somewhere to go. I mean, we had Libby made into the cremation stones, the memorial stones, and we carry those with us. But we don't have a place to go and visit, and like her friends and the dance family and everybody who wants to honor Libby, like no one had anywhere to go. So people naturally just started going to the site where she died because there isn't like a grave marker anywhere like that. So that is why I am rebuilding it and keeping it going, because it is surprising to me in the most beautiful way how many people actually go there and leave things still and go there to sit and like visit and talk to her. And I think that is so special. So I will keep it there until someone tells me that I have to take it down. But I ordered an actual like little plaque thing. We did have a flag with her picture on it that said like in memory of with her name and death date, but it faded really fast. And it was also really annoying because it kept blowing and it would like get twisted and messed up all the time. So then I'd have to stop there and like, and I honestly try not to drive past there if I can help it. Because it's just hard. I mean, who wants to? I go there like when I plan to go there. I go there and clean it up, and I go there and I change the decorations with the seasons. But it's always like I prepare myself ahead of time, and I know that I'm going there with that purpose. If I find my GPS is taking me that direction, and I wasn't prepared for it, then I try to avoid it if I can. When I do go past it, if I don't catch it in time or I don't have any other way to go, then I always had to stop and fix the flag. And that was super frustrating. So now I'm getting like an actual little marker that has her picture on it and her name. And I got some other little things to put out there, and I'll put a picture of it in another video or on social media or something so you guys can see it when it's done. But yeah, I think those are all good ways to honor her. I think there are things that she would like that I'm doing. I think she would be proud of all of that. Yeah, so that is what I'm doing actually on the day of the memorial. Anything, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. It's kind of a weird feeling this year because a lot is happening with this YouTube channel and behind the scenes with my book coming out, and I'm doing all of these crazy things that I never thought that I would be doing. I have a bunch of like speaking engagements and conferences coming up, and my book is going to be coming out in the next couple months. It's done. Like the writing is done. It is good to go. I just had a photo shoot for the cover and for my headshots. And it's crazy, like a professional photo shoot with lights. And so, I got my makeup done and it was like a whole thing. And it was so fun, but I still always get that like in the back of my head, like I wouldn't have any of this if I hadn't lost Libby. All of the things that I'm doing now are things that I have always wanted to do. I have always wanted to write a book my entire life. I have always wanted to be a speaker and do speaking engagements. I love like the social media stuff and making the videos, and it's all things that I would have loved to do, but I never had the confidence to actually do them until I had something that I was so passionate about talking about. So it is a mixed bag of emotions a lot of times, where I feel so grateful and I love these things that I'm getting to do, and I'm proud of myself that I'm doing them finally. But then there's also that feeling of I wouldn't be getting to do any of these amazing things if my daughter hadn't died, and that sucks. Yeah. I'm hoping as the years go on, and if I can keep doing this, I hope I can. If that will lessen a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know. I do know that Libs would be super proud of me. She was always my biggest supporter. I think I've mentioned this before, like she loved Instagram and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. She would always learn all the TikTok dances, and she'd make videos of herself pretending to be an influencer because I wouldn't actually let her post any of them because she was so young. But she would love this. I mean, she would be right here with me. And I do know that, and that makes me feel a little bit better. Um, she always told me to write a book. She always wanted me to be who I wanted to be. And and now I get to be that person because of her. And I thank her every day for that. But I also would give everything that I'm doing back in a nanosecond if it meant one more second with my daughter, because she was the best of everything in my life. So, yeah. Okay. I think I've rambled enough. I'm going to wrap this up. Um, sorry, it was like I literally planned nothing before I did this. So it was like, we'll just turn on the camera and see what happens. So that is how I'm doing at almost 2 years. It's crazy. But anyone else going through this, I'm sending you love and hugs, huge love and hugs, because it's so hard. It's so hard. But we got this, right? We can do it. We can move forward. That's what we're doing. Just keep on keeping on, missing the people that we love every day. So, all right. I will see you guys next week. Take care.